What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. You guys ask and I will deliver to the best of my ability, of course. We have a commenter who asked, "Hi Nate, love your videos. I don't know if you take requests, but if you could do a dedicated video on friendship/socializing, that would be awesome." So guys, this is by Time Capsule Clips 530. Check them out. Appreciate the comments, and we're gonna jump in because I really haven't made a whole lot of videos explaining this. And I think there's a lot of misconceptions out there on how to socialize, all right? Now, I do not classify myself as a social butterfly because nobody even likes social butterflies. Now, what I mean by that is a person who's just always ecstatic, going around, has to be the center of attention, has to be, no. That's not how you make friends, right? That's how you make acquaintances that just put up with you in the moment. But there is a way to make friends and to make lasting relationships and to socialize efficiently. So we're gonna jump in today, guys. Now, this will probably be a multi-part video. I'll probably make other videos on this later, but I love psychology. I've read a lot about it. I love learning about human behavior, and I've tried it out myself, right? A lot of it I learned through my love of business and sales. There was a lot of books I read, there was a lot of videos I watched on human behavior, what works, what doesn't. And it isn't so much a tactic, guys. I don't want you to think that there's like a tactic for making friends or socializing, but there are efficient ways to go about this, right? With anything in life, there are efficient ways and there are ways that you're just wasting your time, beating your head against the wall. And a lot of people feel, especially these days, I think since we're coming out of, the 2020 craziness, we're at that like half a decade mark. A lot of people are starting to go, even the introverts are starting to go, you know what? I think I need to get out of my shell. I want to go out. I want to learn how to get close friendships and get better with people. And guys, I'm going to tell you this, I've come a long way when it comes to people. I can talk to almost anybody in any situation. Now, am I an expert communicator? Am I the best there is? Probably not, but I've come a long way and I'm able to talk to pretty much anybody anywhere. Now, let me tell you a little background on myself just to give you guys an idea here, right? I grew up very shy, very shy. When I mean shy, I mean shy. When I was a kid, I was always the kid on my mother's leg, right? I was always like right there, shy, scared of everybody, scared of what they might think. And I never really broke out of that until I was in my mid-teens. So around that time is when I had this conscious decision that I was annoyed that I wasn't talking to people. I went from introvert to extrovert, right? And it was something, honestly, in many ways, it seemed to happen overnight. But there were some things I think going on in my life that made me want to be outgoing. One of them was the fact that I was homeschooled my entire childhood, right? I think that had something to do with it. But the other thing being that eventually everybody wants to make human connection. And the people who are saying that they don't want to talk to people, that they'd rather be alone, that they would rather be reclusive and hermits and all this stuff, I don't think they're being honest with themselves. All right, so let's get that out of the way, because usually if someone's saying that, it's because they've been hurt or they're afraid of interacting, or some people just become so jaded, right? And as a case-by-case basis, guys, like I get it. There's some people out there, like I've gone through these short periods of life where I'm just like, I don't want to talk to anybody. I just want to isolate. I think that that's beneficial if you're working on yourself in some specific way, but you have to socialize. You have to have friends, guys. I'm telling you, this is one of the, I think for 99.999% of people, introvert, extrovert, doesn't matter. People need human connection. Everybody's walking around these days like they're the lone wolf and they don't need anybody. They don't want to talk to anybody, and everybody's got their headphones in. And guys, I'm not here to judge. Like I've been there too. I used to be the guy who walked around with my headphones everywhere, One, I just really like music, and two, it was sort of a I got my music on, like I'm thinking my thoughts and I'm doing my thing, right? It's just life. Sometimes you have a bad day, you don't want to talk to people either. I get it. But everybody needs human connection. It is up there with needing food and water, guys. I'm telling you, if you do not have human connection for most people, you will not be your best self. You will not be who you need to be. You'll be a shell of yourself. You won't know how to talk. Your thoughts will be really jumbled. There'll be something in you that's kind of missing, right? And sometimes, right, I'm just going to throw out some extreme examples here. There's been people who have been, POWs, prisoners of war, people who have been, isolated, trapped, kidnapped for many years, and it psychologically changes you. Changes most people, right? And it can take years for people to become normal again, right? To integrate into society, right? And those are extreme cases. But I'm going to give you guys some tips, some things that have worked for me that took me from being, shy to, outgoing, but still not kind of where I wanted to be, to being able to talk to anybody in any situation. Now, the funny thing is, a lot of this was hindsight. A lot of this, once you hear this, guys, it's going to be common sense, but sometimes common sense isn't so common. We don't think about these things because the world has us thinking a certain way. And one of the things, guys, I believe in wholeheartedly, the number one thing you have to do if you want to talk to people, if you want to be outgoing, sociable, you want to make friend groups, you want to be personable at work, and you have to be yourself, guys. This is the number one thing. You have to be okay with yourself. You have to accept yourself as who you are. I just made a video on this, so I'm not going to go too far into it. I just made a video saying God wants you to accept being where you are, God wants you to be confident where you're at in life. And so watch that video if you haven't. That's a great foundation. You have to be yourself. But let's say you're like, okay, cool. Like, I'm good, Nate. Now what do I do? How do I socialize? Guys, you have to put other people first. This is the biggest mistake I think that people make when it comes to actually getting out there with people, right? Once they're okay with themselves, you have to put other people first. Now, what I mean by this is you have to think of other people as more important than yourself. Have you ever wondered why there's a lot of people who they might have a lot to say, but they're never really that outgoing? Do you know what I mean? Like, they might be loud, they might have a lot to say, but they might not have a lot of friends, or they might not have a lot of close friends, or they might not have like groups, right? The reason for this, right, this could be choice, but the other reason I've seen is because people are so focused on themselves. People want, guys, our natural inclination, we have a very self-serving ego, a pride. We have this innate desire that everything is about us, and the whole world revolves around our feelings, our thoughts, our emotions, our wants and desires. Everything revolves around us. And so you have people, and I will not continue to talk to people who are like this because it drives me up the wall. You have people who cannot do anything but talk about themselves. You will literally, they'll talk to you forever, right? As soon as you share one thing about yourself, they don't say anything. They don't ask any questions. It goes immediately back to what they want to talk about. Or they have this blank stare, like they literally don't have anything to say because it doesn't matter. I personally would stay away from those people, right? I'm not here to label anybody. I hate throwing around terms like narcissist, but those people tend to be extremely selfish and self-oriented, right? It's good to tell people about yourself, right? I'm not saying never tell people about yourself, but I am saying you have to be of the mindset of the other person's more important. And what I mean by that, and I'm going to delve into this more, is you have to have a mindset of, okay, this person is the most interesting person on earth, and I don't know it yet. You have to ask questions. You have to see where they're coming from. You have to see where their viewpoints are, where their feelings are, what they think about things. Guys, you will be surprised. A 5-minute, 10-minute conversation with someone, when you just continue to ask questions to people first of all, most people love it, absolutely love it. Maybe not consciously, but subconsciously, we love being asked questions because it makes us feel like we are interesting, like people want to hear about us. And you could take this and you can be a manipulator, a master manipulator with it, right? And I'm even going to say something here as well for the guys watching the video. This is one of the most important things you can do when it comes to talking to women and dating women, right? There's so many guys out there who are trying to talk and act and live the world like it's all about them. Yes, women want confidence. They want you to be feeling like you're on top of the world. It's very attractive to women. However, when you actually start talking to a woman, guys, yes, there's playful banter. You can flirt. You can, but when you actually get face to face or you're on a phone call, right, when you're talking, the easiest thing to do, guys, to increase a woman's attraction or increase her, liking towards you is to just ask her questions, right? And this is a people thing, but a lot of guys, when they're on dates, they feel like they have to like overcompensate and tell her all about their life and their adventures and their like what they've done and how awesome they are in their job and like all the things they have. Real girls, shallow girls I might work on, but real women, guys, they are going to want you to ask about them because women want to be understood. They want to feel like they're needed, like they're understood. And the good women, guys, who actually appreciate you, your time, your presence, they will actually ask you questions back. A lot of you guys might think women are just selfish, but women, if they're interested in you, like eventually they're going to start asking you questions, right? But most women, they want to be led. And so you have to lead them in this like questionnaire, right? A lot of guys, they're trying to put out an image and they're trying to get her to ask about them because they want to feel bigger and better. But women want to be led down this like questionnaire sort of, and it's not like you're asking questions just to ask questions, guys. You're like actually trying to get to know her, right? So it's like, hey, so, you mentioned that you're from this place. Tell me about that place. What's your favorite restaurant in that area? What's your favorite memory you had in that area? And then you can just ask questions based off of that. Oh, your favorite food is Italian food. That's pretty awesome, Then maybe you can interject then like, oh, quickly, right? Not on a monologue. Hey, I had this Italian place growing up. I went there with my family. I had some great memories there. They actually had these really great cannolis. Do you like cannolis? Guys, it's banter, right? And then through that everyday conversation, you can weave in some jokes, some flirting comments, right? Like it's just natural. But this is the biggest thing people do not focus on is asking questions, guys. This makes people feel like $1 million, right? $1 million. And again, you can talk about yourself. You can bring up stuff like in the conversation, but a good way to think about it, I like to think about it in like a 70-30 rule. 70% of it needs to be focused on them, 30% or less needs to be focused on you, right? Now, if you meet somebody who has this mindset, because a lot of people don't, guys, I'm gonna be real with you, a lot of people do not. Everybody's trying to, everyone's trying to put their advertisement to the world out there about how great they are, and most people are just selfish and they're self-oriented. But if you meet somebody who is like on the same page as what I'm talking about, you'll have great conversations. You will literally have conversations that go on for hours. Like you'll want to go do stuff with them. And that should be the aim, guys. A lot of you people watching today might be, I don't want to say desperate, but you might be at the point where it's like any human connection is good. And I want to warn you guys because I've been there and it's not true. You want to surround yourself with people where there's a mutual exchange of appreciation and interest. You don't want to put yourself around a bunch of people who you're having to appease and you're the one that's the cool guy because you ask them questions and it's all about them, but like they don't really give a crap about you. Not a good place to be. So guys, honestly, I could end the video there because if you just go out and start asking people questions about their day, their life, what they think, what they feel, that is how you're going to win over most people. Now, I'm going to give you guys a couple of other things. Like I said, I'll probably make some other videos on this because this could go on forever. But one of the things that's really important as well, obviously, asking questions to people is huge, right? But you got to have a little bit more than just asking questions, right? You need to have a servant's attitude. Now, this is where I might lose a lot of people, right? But you're not a slave, right? You're not anybody's slave unless, I don't know. Some people might disagree on that with me, right? We can go down some philosophical rabbit holes, but you do not owe anybody anything, right? You don't really owe anybody anything. Well, really, except your parents, right? I do believe you owe your parents, but you don't really owe anybody anything, right? However, you have to have this mindset of a servant. And this is extremely important when it comes to business, guys. And this is just the way that my mind kind of works, but you can apply this to your everyday life. Having a servant mindset is basically, like I said, thinking of the other person is more important than yourself, but also putting the other person above yourself. And this is going to be really hard for a lot of people to do. This does not mean you have to be always going out of your way to appease somebody or to, like always be doing stuff, because again, there's people who don't deserve it because they're not going to return it. And there's also people who are going to abuse it, right? And they're going to abuse you. Now, this is where I might lose a lot of people. If you are of the religious side of things, if you're on the spiritual side of things, I believe that Christ came here as one of the most perfect servants, well, the most perfect servant, example of one that we have had, right? But he wasn't a doormat. So you have to figure out, there's a very fine line here, because there's a lot of situations, there's a lot of predicaments, there's a lot of things. The world's not so black and white, especially when it comes to people. You have to keep an open mind with this. Sometimes it's gradual, sometimes you try for a long time, and if there's no reciprocation there, then sometimes it's better to cut ties, right? Because you don't want to just be giving. Proverbs even talks about it. Sometimes people, they want to give to like rich people because they want to be noticed, they want to be seen, they want to be praised too. But Proverbs talks about that. It's like, don't give gifts to rich people. Like, don't do stuff like that, because one, it honestly all comes down to the heart motive, right? And most of the time when you're giving to a rich person, let's say you don't have a whole lot, but you're giving to a rich person, guys, I'm gonna be real with you. Most people who have money are not going to appreciate it, especially if it's coming from, if you're like obviously a much lower tax bracket. Now, this is not to say this is a hard and fast rule for everybody, but for the super majority of people, this is gonna be the case. So barring that, servant's mind is like, guys, it's the little things, right? It's the little things. This is gonna sound crazy, but it's like, how was your day? Or like little things, how you think you can make someone's day better, right? If your buddy's, like your work buddy's favorite drink, like energy drink, right? Maybe stop by the store, stop by the gas station, pick up his favorite drink on the way to work. Be like, hey man, I thought you might like this. Don't make a big deal out of it. Just be cool with it, guys. That, especially for men, that goes a long way with just appreciation, right? It's the little things like, hey man, like you've really helped me out this week, or you've been helping me out a lot. Like, I really appreciate all the help. I'm gonna take you out to lunch, right? It's on me. Or, if they need help with something, right? And like, they've been helping you and you guys have a mutual appreciation for each other. And it's like, oh yeah, sure, I'll help you out, man. Like, hey, let me help you out. Because, and again, this is a very fine line I'm trying to make here, because it's very easy to become the guy who's like strung out, always trying to help people. And I honestly think it comes from a heart motive, right? If you feel like you're doing these things because you are in debt to somebody, or because you have to, or because they might not like you, or because they might not like, if it's coming from a place of fear, you shouldn't do it. If it's coming from a place of, I have to do this to be seen or noticed or loved, don't do it. But if it's coming from a genuine, out of the abundance of your heart motive, then do it, guys. Absolutely do it. And it's the little things, guys, when you, Like, this is a biblical concept, but it's something that we have lost in society because we're told that it's all about us. It doesn't have to just be a biblical concept. This would be, if we reintegrated this into society, would change everything. If we treat other fellow men like better than ourselves, think about that. If we all had that mindset, we'd all be trying to outdo each other. We'd all be trying to not perform, but like love, out appreciate, outdo one another in like good works, good deeds, right? Like just good stuff, man. And if you guys keep those two things in mind, I'm telling you, like, that's what it really comes down to. If you want friends, if you want to socialize, if you want to get, like, you could be total strangers, right? Doesn't matter. You can be the new guy somewhere, doesn't matter. If you do these things for a few weeks, guys, you will have the opportunity to ask people if they want to go hang out, right? And this always depends on where you are, right? Like, some people don't want to hang out outside of work. I totally get it, man. That's your call. But you can literally apply these things to anything else, your hobbies, right? This is a great place to do it. You have a hobby, you're around a lot of people, you implement these things, it's going to be a game changer. And that's the problem, guys. I'm going to conclude with this. That's the problem. That's the biggest issue. Is everybody is so focused on themselves that it goes both ways. You know, it can show itself as being boisterous and like all about me and blah, 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 you know, but it can also show itself in anxiety too. A lot of people's anxiety that they have, guys, a lot of it's just selfish, right? And a lot of it, guys, and this goes into the anxiety. And I want you guys to really hear this part. I talk about this in a lot of my videos. You have to look at what you're doing that's holding you back, that's hindering you. Most of the things, like, guys, it's the little things like nicotine. You guys know what it is. Alcohol, porn, excessive video games, excessive junk food, you know, all these bad habits, all these things we know that aren't good for us. That actually messes with us, like neurochemically. It messes with our amygdala, which it influences, you know, anxiety and regulation of, you know, thoughts and feelings and hormones, all these things. I'm not a scientist, but I do know enough to know that it is true. If you guys cut out your like overconsumption and over, you know, doing it, and you cut out certain things that just aren't good for you, you will become a lot more balanced, right? It might be a few days of like feeling like angsty, but you will become more balanced, and you'll be able to talk to people because you'll be your true self. Excuse me, your true self will not be the guy who's like always hooked on something, who's addicted to something, who's enslaved to something. No, the true you, the real you is the guy, gal, who's free, who's themselves, right? That's why I think, again, going back to the Bible, guys, I think it's really a blueprint to life in many ways. It goes back to being sober-minded, right? Like, if you're constantly if you're constantly using things and like all over the place, guys, your brain chemistry is like all over the place. You can cut all that stuff out, guys, you'll find that your anxiety goes away, because what happens is we're always worried about ourselves. We're always worried about what people think about us, how they're going to look at us, how they're going to perceive us. Are they going to talk about, you know, me behind my back? Are they going to think I'm weird now? Are they going to think I'm not cool anymore? Like, all these things. And first of all, if people are going to judge you based off of like dumb stuff, they're not even worth being around. So you should knock that out of the park, right? But what about work? What about other places where it seems to matter more? One, again, it goes back to being comfortable in your own skin, right? Confident in your own skin. And sometimes people aren't going to like you. Sometimes people are going to embarrass you. Sometimes people are going to talk crap about you. And guys, it's going to happen. All these things, like, just accept that they're going to happen, right? Stop trying to like fight it so much. It's going to happen. Accept it and be like, I don't care anyway. Doesn't matter anyway. And once you have that attitude, guys, people are attracted to that, right? Because everybody's got something. Everybody's got a flaw. Again, go watch that video I mentioned, right? God wants you to be confident. But if you implement those things, guys, if you implement talking to people, asking them questions, if you implement having a servant mindset, and you implement cutting out the bad stuff that's literally messing with your brain, so that you can be your true self. I'm telling you guys, you will be able to socialize, make friends with anybody. So guys, let me know what you think below. Love hearing from you guys. Love hearing your suggestions. If you guys have a video you want, let me know. And Lord willing, I will see y'all in the next one.